All right. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Stan Kramer. I'm with Will, Peppa MD. How you doing, man?
What's up? Doing well, man. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Look, see myself for the first time on screen. I'm like, I need a haircut.
It's about that time.
A little too much. Yeah. But cool, man. How you been? Good weekend?
Pretty good weekend. Yeah, just just the weather change and just it getting colder. I get the sniffles now more. I gotta, invest in my emergency or some Vicks. It's about that time of the year, you know.
That's really bad season.
Allergy stuff kicking.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's fun. And everyone thinks you got the corona because like you're coughing and stuff.
Of course, it never fails, man.
Yeah, you cough and everyone's looking at you like, what? No, the allergies. But yeah, but cool, man. Yeah, so this week's big movie was Ghostbusters Afterlife, and we did our classic review. You know, does it hold up? And we did the original, and I think we both said yes, it did. The original one held up.
Yeah.
30, how many years? 30 something years later. I did the math before. That it's finally kind of coming back. So they did the sequel 5 years later, Ghostbusters 2, which was definitely more kid friendly, more nicer, like for the box office. Right. And I love the second one as well. That was super cool, and 30, what was it? What year did it come out? 1984. No, it's 2021. 37 years later.
Yeah.
37, dude. Can you imagine? Like, I was born in 1984, so I didn't see the release, but I grew up on this movie. The original is as old as me. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. And they're finally like, I finally get to go see Ghostbusters in theaters. Like for release. So that was pretty cool.
Wow. That is a fun movie.
Yeah. And then real quick, I had two teenage girls in my theater that must have been on some kind of drug.
Oh.
I'm assuming high because they were laughing a lot and they were very annoying.
Oh no.
And then on top of it, they were like right. They were on the side of me, so I was able to like look over and see them. And there was a few times I'm like, one of them was on the floor, and one I look over and like her legs are up in the air, and she's like clapping her feet together. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? I'm like, because I'm like, maybe.
Send me her plug, bro. Send me her plug.
Right? Because at first I'm like, all right, maybe there's like, they're teenage girls, they're being goofy. And then I'm like, okay, this is a little too much. And then they like, maybe like 20 minutes into the film, maybe less, but 15 minutes, they just took off running, like, and left the theater and never came back.
What the hell? Stay off the drugs, kids. What the hell?
I mean, maybe
crazy sounding. Maybe,
but I'm assuming they like. Parents drop them off and then they're going to meet like their friends or boyfriends or whatever. So yeah. So, but
you had
that
me
was entertaining.
Feet clapping in the air. The one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, what the hell?
It was weird, man. Yeah. So that was fun, but luckily they left and they didn't ruin the movie that much. But cool, man. You want to watch the trailer?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Get this thing going.
Give us a little refresher.
Yeah. So we'll have that going, and I'll read the synopsis. So this one is when a single mother and her two children move to a new town called Somerville. They soon discover they had a connection to the original Ghostbuster, and the secret legacy of their grandfather left behind. So they kind of moved to the city to collect their crazy grandfather's junk because he was the dirt farmer and no one knew why he moved out there. And you start to learn as you go, but he has a old raggedy house and a bunch of crap on the inside and stuff like that. But yeah. I mean, you saw the car for some reason. He had the car too. That was tucked away in the barn, and the son which was the Stranger Things kid. For some reason he knew how to work on cars. So like that was one thing that kind of like got me. I was like maybe I guess his grandfather is who he was, and maybe some of it got passed down. But obviously the daughter is the one that was the smart one of the bunch. But Paul Rudd's in it. He was kind of the big name for most of the movie. Trace, who else? Remember any of the other names of the newer people?
I like Podcast.
Oh man, yeah, that's right.
He's definitely cool. He's an unknown kid. He's new, but he made a big splash on scene, and he had kind of a big role for being another geeky kid to the mix. And his name was Podcast because that's what he's always doing. He's creating a podcast, some sort of media, kind of like us, which is pretty cool.
The one that got me, J.K. Simmons was in it, and that threw me off. I did not know that was J.K. Simmons.
I saw him laying there, and I was like, "Is that him?"
Dude, that's what I thought too. I'm like, I guess a lot of people tend to look like him. Right. So I'm like, maybe, but I was like, what? I'm like, no, that was him. Trying to see who else was in it. Finn Wolfhard. He was the brother of or one of the kids. McKean Grace was Phoebe, who was the nerdy daughter. Yeah. And then I'm trying to see the mother. The mother's name was Callie? Not Callie. Was it?
Was it Callie?
I believe so.
It doesn't even look like her on the picture. Yeah. But yeah, I think that was her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her, right?
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, the adults weren't really big characters in this movie. Like Paul Rudd probably was somewhat, but he really didn't play a big role, as himself or whatever. But the few parts that Paul Rudd were in was pretty, like he was strutting in the store, to get some ice cream, and then that's when he saw the little Stay Puffed guys. Yeah. But that was, I'm like, oh, that's Paul Rudd for sure. We got the Gadunk. What's up, man? Or guys? Rhonda couldn't call his daughter for 30 years.
My man was focused on one mission only. He cut off his friends. He cut off his family. He couldn't call his daughter for 30 years.
Yeah. He literally, I think it's Egon. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was Egon. Egon couldn't call his daughter for 30 years.
And
but that kind of goes, because we watched the original, but that kind of goes with his character. Like it was like, I'm like, he was very like that in the first one. He was very like detached from a lot of things, So even when he's, saying the Twinkie story, like he was just kind of like, oh yeah, we're all going to die. Giant Twinkie, and then as he eats the Twinkie. So I don't know. It kind of went, but it was very disappointing because like, you don't want to see a legend kind of be a crappy person, even though he wasn't, but yeah.
I mean, even like throughout the whole movie, you keep, or not you, but the movie keeps referring to him as like the unknown crazy dirt farmer that's selfish and all that. But even when they were saying that, I wasn't believing it. I don't know what it was, but I was like, nah. Oh, yeah. Like he is a reason why he's doing all this. It's a crazy scientific reason, Yeah,
very true. Yeah, no mention of the mother, which I assumed it was Janine, who was Annie Potts, was the secretary because she always had a crush on him, but obviously not, because when she walked through the door and Callie was like, "Who are you?" I'm like,
yeah, right,
yeah, but yeah,
that was her, right? Janine. She looks a little bit different. When she popped in, when they're first exploring the house, right? Is that Janine? Okay,
yeah. But yeah, going back to like, I didn't. Well, right off the bat, I kind of knew, it was Egon. They kind of show it. They gave him the gray hair, so like how Harold Ramis looked right before he died. Kind of little. a little chunkier, but the gray hair, the gray beard, and stuff like that. So I was like, that's you knew that was Egon, And I think they even showed like the glasses and stuff, but they never showed him. It was always like a silhouette or from the side. You missed it, which I appreciated. I was like, I don't do Harold Ramis like that, And right. We'll get into that a little later, but yeah. So I thought that was pretty good, but yeah, I wasn't believing it either. Of that, he's this crazy old man. I mean, he is crazy. Even in the original ones, he's weird. Because right. I watched the second one, even though like we didn't do a review about it, but I did watch the second one, and the second one was with the ooze, and when he's explaining that the ooze feeds off emotions, and they were trying to figure out what was the positive, the good vibe, and he's like, oh well, we sang to it and we talked good to it and said nice things, and then Vakeman, Bill Murray, is like, he's like, oh, did you sleep with it? And they kind of like look at each other. I was like, you had like you used the oozy thing. I was like, I don't want to know. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the biggest one. Is the kid can't drive, but he can fix a car. Yeah, that was. I don't know if like it's too much of a leap to like, oh, his grandfather was this super smart doctor, but I mean that doesn't really translate. Like, no, smart isn't genetic.
No, and you can't claim like, oh, it's in their blood to just be mechanically. No, you can't play that card.
Yeah, I mean the daughter Phoebe. I mean she was able to kind of like rebuild the proton pack.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, she has a little bit of help, but she was also a genius.
She was, and I don't know if it's just me, but when watching the movie, right, Phoebe, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but she kind of looked like what's his name?
Like Egon.
She looked like Egon. Certain like angles where they would catch her face or the smile or like the like blank stare or something. Like I could swear that was his legitimate family.
Yeah, they did a good job because I think she's usually blonde. I mean, with Finn Wolfhard, the son, he didn't look anything like anybody. Her though, yeah. Give him the glasses and the demeanor and the hair. Like, yeah, I'm down for that. Egon did help with the car. I mean, yeah, but still, it's like all he did was like tie a wire together. I was like, it's kind of pushing it. But yeah, that was a big thing that kind of like bugged me. I was like, really? I was like this, like what? No, he said he was 17, but he was only 15.
Yeah, he lied. He lied to like what? To get
with the girl.
Yeah, Phoebe's. It doesn't even say her name. It says Phoebe something.
Oh man, Phoebe's classmate. Do they ever say her name? I don't think they ever say her name now. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, but we both know who we're talking about. It's the one that's working at the little diner or whatever that place is. She was
it was the little roller rinky diner thing.
Yeah.
But what were some of the other things that you liked?
So I loved a few of the references that they made towards the older Ghostbuster. So like, for example, spoiler alert, we are the spoiler kings. It's not a big spoiler, but at some point from trying to, the kids trying to mess with this technology and they start shooting up the street and with these, rays and whatnot. What's up, baby? Yeah, it's gonna die. You gotta tell. What's his name? Sheriff Dominic or the sheriff, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's like, or Phoebe's like, hey, don't we get a phone call? And he's like, all right, yeah, you get a phone call. Who are you gonna call? And like, I don't know if anybody got that, but like, I was like, hey,
definitely people our age got it. I think, yeah. I heard everyone in the theater where I was at kind of giggled at that.
It did.
Yeah.
For me, I had a quiet theater, very, very quiet theater. But that was something that was cool. Another one, without spoilers, something that I liked was I like podcast. I did like
podcast was cool.
He was just so funny. I want to see more of that kid. That kid got spunk. I do. What else did I like, man? I like the guys. I mean, they didn't have a big role, and they didn't like. You don't need to have them, but the guys at the diner being assholes, I kind of like that mechanic where you have like the nerdy geeky kids. What are you doing? No, or to here.
Troubleshoot.
There you go. It's got a charge. I don't even think it's ready. As far as things that I liked, no, play in the room. Things that I liked. I like how they didn't go crazy with the story. They kind of reset it up and paid homage to the story from Ghostbusters 1. You know,
A lot.
You want to tell them who the main villain is, or should we get to that later? Later, right?
Yeah, we can get to it a little later. I mean, I don't think it's like too much of it.
But I did like the cast. Cast was nice. Story wasn't confusing. Really easy to follow. It was a good movie that you could bring like your kids to, which is probably why you had those teenage girls. But yeah, overall I liked it. Bunch of little Easter eggs, and just
A lot
of nostalgia for the most part. Seeing the old school car from the freaking 80s, man. That thing is ancient. But yeah, what about you? What'd you like? What kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, the nostalgia was going hardcore with it. I mean, they did not pump the brakes with the nostalgia. They just threw it all at you. Which I didn't mind it as much. I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna do it, then do it. Don't like half-ass it, or kind of like tease, like, oh, it was kind of like, no, just throw it all at me and let me just enjoy, the stuff I enjoyed when I was like 10, But then like it was the whole thing was like very setting up. I'm like, oh, what are they gonna do with the series? Are they gonna do, he's saying it's too much. It was a lot. But I'd rather have a lot than them kind of like, oh, here's just this and this, that. And then especially with the Ghostbusters, I feel like the Ghostbusters were so much of everyone's childhood, because it's like, because I guarantee when they do Beetlejuice, because they are going to do Beetlejuice again, like it's going to be the same exact thing. And that's what they're going to do. It's like, hey, remember this thing from almost 40 years ago? So, I mean, they could have definitely went more, with bringing they could have brought Slimer back. I was kind of surprised that they didn't bring Slimer back. I mean, they did their new one, Muncher. It was kind of like their version of Slimer. Yeah. But I mean, I didn't care if they did or didn't, but yeah, they did go super hardcore with the nostalgia, which for me, I didn't mind too much. Because if it's done right, then it's okay. Because I felt like the nostalgia kind of helped push the story forward a little bit. Like they watched the commercial from the old school one, and it wasn't just them watching the commercial. There was a purpose behind it because the little girl didn't know, and then rightfully so. Where Paul Rudd's like, you don't remember? He's like, I wasn't even born. I was like, oh yeah. So.
Just for clarity,
like,
right? For the new viewers, pretty much.
Yeah, so I like that because it's like, here's the nostalgia, but it's also like pushing the story forward for the newer people, like your kid. Well, maybe he's still a little young, but the newer, younger audience, So I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that too much. But yeah, the graphics were really good. I remember one thing we talked about, like, in the original was when the dogs were running, it looked really, really, really bad, but that was also state of the art for the early 80s. Where now, damn, man, that that looked really good. The practical effects, the CGI effects were really well done. Really well done. I still like they had the dog like plopped on the ground, because they did it before because of like issues with like, oh, if we have him stand up and this and that. So they had a kind of the dog plopped on the ground, and in this one they kind of kept it, and then when he ran, somehow he like got skinnier, but whatever. It's just, I guess you had to keep with the continuity of it all. But yeah, She doesn't know about the ghost taking over New York. Like, does she know WW2? See, so I thought this too. But even if you go back and watch the one from 1989, Ghostbusters 2, it was only 5 years. 5 years. And he even says it in the movie. It was 5 years later. Everyone in New York forgot about it. And that was like, it happened 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like, where they were like, they were going to do, what the hell is it? Party. Like there, you know, where you hire a clown and stuff like that. You hired the Ghostbusters to go and they sang their song and stuff like that. You know, so and then everyone forgot about it. I mean, shit, the judge thought it was all fake. You know, and it was like it happened 5 years ago, and then, you know, that was when the two guys showed up in the courtroom and they have to save the world again. But yeah, so I mean, that was the only thing I was like, how does certain people don't know, you know? But
you know what? Here's the thing. Let me kind of defend New York a little bit, or even just big events like that. So I've never been to New York. I plan to one day. And if you've ever gone to New York or Florida as states, a lot of crazy stuff happens that people forget about. Let me ask you right now, do you hear anybody referencing that crazy quote unquote zombie attack from Florida that happened in like 2012? That's a crazy phenomenon that happened. Yeah. And no one can speak of it right now. Not that they can't, but like no one cares to, no one wants to. Things are always happening that's crazy. And then go to New York, dog. Just look on TikTok. You'll see a bunch of clips of a bunch of tweakers, a bunch of stuff that maybe, you know, you may think it's ghosts and stuff, but not just a regular day in New York. So, yeah. By the way, I like your background. I just realized.
Oh, yeah.
OG.
The OG one.
But yeah.
Which they kind of bring that back too, which is kind of cool. So he's saying, oh, that was the complaint of the original one back in the day. Yeah. Whereas like you kind of forget, you know, and that was just 5 years. Where they're like they become has-beens, you know. So yeah, it was
in this movie. They even talk about it a little bit of like what happened after.
9/11 was 20 years ago, and it's pretty fresh.
But then again,
yeah. It's also a real.
Why people use that all the time just cause.
They definitely changed the narrative for, you know, stuff like that. But I mean, it's also like, I didn't mind if you're gonna be, if there's gonna be continuity and you know, even if the continuity is kind of silly, like the dog laying on the ground for whatever reason, like all plopped out, or people forgetting like what happened yesterday, kind of thing. Then I was like, all right, you know, that's I didn't mind too much about it. I don't know. People argue that the moon landing is fake.
That's good.
Yeah, we got a lot of deniers. So I don't know. Thanks. It was Erica. Thanks, Erica. That was funny. But yeah, it just I didn't mind it too much because it's, for me, it's like it's carrying the story, but it's not like it's just like not even a plot point. It's just a thing that's like all right, let's move on. Like everyone forgot. Like here's a trailer that's on YouTube for some reason, and everyone forgot about it, but it's here, you know. And I thought that was kind of funny, but you know, I mean, we know in the real world that wouldn't happen, but yeah.
True. My bad. Real quick. A theme that I did kind of notice they kind of brought back from the OG one was believability in ghosts. So like, you know, they talk about science again. They talk about, you know, science is real. It's, you know, it's justified. You have evidence to, you know, to kind of bring to the table. But ghosts, you got to just go off of faith type deal or go off of experiences. And so like, even what's her name? Phoebe even talks about a little bit like, oh yeah, I don't believe in ghosts. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Until she experiences for herself. So I'm kind of glad that at least this time around, they try to really incorporate like themes in the movie to where it's a driver for the plot. So like her not being a believer, but she keeps, you know, she moves a chess piece and then like somebody moves another one that no one else is in her room, you know, like it starts to kind of throw that, you know, that little mechanic in there, and that helps for, you know, telling the story a little bit, in my opinion, because how are you gonna fight something or believe in something unless you experience it? So I'm glad to kind of show that off a little bit.
Which that's another thing in which I liked and didn't like at the same time, almost, because I liked it that they're like, oh, this is how she's able to talk to her grandfather and this and that, but also it's like she had no emotion And then they explain in there, they're like, oh, she's like, oh, I don't show physical kind of like emotion, you know, like, but she's like, but inside I'm like terrified. And I'm like, I guess, you know, that's a way to like explain why she's not freaked out that like a lamp is telling her how to fix, you know, this like nuclear whatever, like weapon or whatever they said it was, you know, in the original. Yeah. So there's like, I mean, there's like some point you gotta like put your belief, you know, or suspend belief, with stuff like that. So I was like, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe she's like on the spectrum kind of thing, because you can argue so was Egon, you know, you know, back then, where that was way less of a thing back then than it is now, you know.
I kind of want to ask you about that. So I didn't want to say, but did you get any vibes that maybe she was on the spectrum?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
She had some moments where she detached from like reality or detached from the social situation. And like, I was wondering, like, is she just that smart that she like throws social life, you know, just throws it away and focuses on science? Or is she actually like that as part of her personality? I couldn't tell. They didn't say it. I didn't mention that she was autistic or anything like that or special in any way, just smart. But
I mean, I mean, it's a whole,
maybe she was, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole like study on like how people that are on the spectrum like see things differently, and that's why a lot of them like are really smart, you know, if they can get their expressions across, you know. And there's newer ways to do it, and there's some cool stuff. I'll show you after the show. I don't want to make this too medical stuff, but yeah, it's super like interesting stuff. But yeah, I did get that vibe. Cool. And then they said Stay Puft was chosen by Ray. What did Marshmallow Man coming from a bag have to do with the ghost at all? Just silly. See, that's what I thought too. But then I think Gozer is holding a grudge. That's what I got from it, you know, because like the whole time she knows. Well, all right, now we're getting into some spoilers. She knows Egon is keeping her in the pit, kind of thing. You know what I mean? He's like, no. You know, and obviously he sacrificed his friends and family, like not physically, but like being away from them. Like he like cut himself away from them to save them. So, and then they, you know, he was kind of becoming a crazy old man in a sense that way. But I that's what I got more of it was like Gozer was dicking around with them. You know, she's like, oh yeah, hey, remember this thing? I'm gonna release some of these guys, and you remember this thing? I'm gonna release that. You know, that's why I was kind of surprised that we didn't see Slimer. So that was kind of like interesting because like I thought we would have saw more of the older ghosts coming back for her. But yeah, it was silly. Yeah. But that I mean that hit the nostalgia like hardcore. And I liked it even at the end when the podcast starts zapping him and they start exploding and he walks out of the car covered in marshmallow. Yeah. Just like at the end of the first one, you know, like you know, or the original. But yeah, it was mostly it was for silly and definitely fan service, 100% fan service. Mm-hmm. But in the post credit scene, I don't know if you you said you didn't stay for the post credit scene. You didn't know. I
didn't. So yeah, my son was crying, and I had a feeling there was a post credit scene, but I had to get out of there.
And then they kind of show a new logo, which was kind of interesting because you know there's the ghost and the little like do not enter kind of sign. Yep. So now it was the Stay Puft, the little baby Stay Puft with the little red circle with the circle, you know, slash through it kind of thing. So really? I mean, everything points to like they are going to make a continuation, you know, like kind of thing. And then yeah, J.K. Simmons was a throwaway character.
They didn't take it off.
Huge throwaway character. I don't know why they got J.K. Simmons.
Hi, Kramer.
Hey, Oli.
Yeah, that was weird.
They could have got anybody, unless J.K. Simmons is like, I really want to be in this. That's the only thing I can think of where J.K. is like, I want to be in this and I don't care.
Wow. Yeah.
Because they literally could have got anybody to do that. You know. Also, you know who played Gozer? Like the new version of Gozer?
No, she looked very similar to the OG one, so I was like,
Very much
CGI?
Olivia Wilde.
Babe?
And then now you think about it.
What?
Then once you think about it, you're like, oh, okay. It makes sense. You know, very, very, very thin, you know, kind of, she has those very strong facial features, big cheekbones, and, so it looked good. I like the new Gozer.
I didn't know that was her. Jesus.
But yeah.
She's so fun.
Yeah.
She's just an angel. Yep.
So I know we're going a little bit over. Yep. So any bad things real quick? I know we were kind of like bouncing back and forth.
Bad things. No, nothing took me out. Nothing was like, oh man, this is it for me. Like I didn't respect it. Nah, they did their own thing. They touched back on the first movie. They have some, some old characters come back, which was nice. But nah, I don't really have a dislike for this movie. Nothing took me out. The length of the movie was just right for me. It wasn't too long. I think it was like an hour, 45 minutes, something like that.
I think. Yeah.
And so, it was good. It was good. The dogs, the hellhounds, or whatever you call them, they look cool this time. They look like a real like cheetah looking. I don't know. They look tough.
They fixed up that CGI
for sure. That's it for me. What about you? Any dislikes?
Yeah. I was expecting more references to like the second one because it's almost like the second one didn't really happen. Almost, I think there was no reference or anything at all. You know, I was maybe if I watch it again, I could see like a jar of ooze in like a background in the secret office in underground kind of thing, but yeah, there was like no really big references to the second one, which is kind of like disappointing. Because I really enjoyed the second one. Not as much as the first one, but yeah. But it was good. I enjoyed that. One thing I did really like was the Winston. When they went and said what the old guys are doing. Egon went crazy and became a dirt farmer. Ray still has his bookstore, which I guess he technically bought it in the second one or had it in the second one. The occult bookstore kind of whatever. And then Peter went to do PR stuff, or I forgot what they said, which makes sense because he was already on a TV show in the second one. And then Winston, the guy who was just looking for a job, he's like got money and rich and running corporations and stuff. So I thought that was like super good because Winston, like out of all of them, classically trained as an actor. Like he was like an actor, and everyone else was just like on SNL kind of shit, So that I thought it was like, oh, we're gonna make you kind of a guy looking for a job, and now roles are flipped, and he's like making sure the rest of the Ghostbusters are like he's paying Ray's bookstore. He did all the like stuff. So it was like, it was like I really enjoy that because like they made Winston a little bit more important. Maybe not as I don't know. He's just like, I guess the money guy now. How did Egon? Here you go. How did Egon get all the furniture in his lab? The only way down was a fire pole.
Good one, right?
Yeah.
Probably had that.
Or it could be like it could be like something stupid like what was the heist movie? There's a tunnel right there. I was like, what? So maybe you got something like that too. What was it Red Notice? That we did. Oh, yeah. They're like, oh, how do they get all the stuff down? Oh, there's a tunnel. But I'm like, but the room's hidden. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I thought too. Was like he had all that stuff down there. I mean, that proton packs that was one thing they always said in the originals where like they're not light. They're huge. Yeah. So it was like you got all that stuff. But also everything he did in the pit area down there and made a little sensor with all the other proton packs shooting. But so before we get into reviews, you want to get into like the spoiler ending?
Yes, let's do it.
I know. We said we're gonna go like 30 minutes, and that went to crap. We got some viewers this time. We usually don't give live viewers.
It's true.
I appreciate you guys hanging out with us, man. But yeah, so the big one, and I'm not gonna lie, I went getting teary eyed because it was just it is big for me. You know what I mean? It's like legit, like bringing back like your childhood. is Gozer is comes back, and she's right, it is killing, gonna kill all of them. And then the OG guys come walking through. You got Ray, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Peter Venkman, and then Eddie Hudson as Winston. And they come, and same thing again. And I'm like, I thought Ray, which is Dan Aykroyd's character, I thought Ray was gonna go to her and be like, "Are you a god?" And they were gonna like zap her and shit. I thought he was gonna reverse it. I really thought he was gonna reverse it, but she just she asked him. She goes, "Are you a god?" And then Winston is like, "Come on, you like you know." And then obviously he's like, "Yes, I'm a god." So
that was good.
So I thought that was like another callback that I thought was good, because it's the one-liners. The like how we said, the original had so many good one-liners that, especially something like that. But even the crossing the streams didn't work this time. It's like she learned how to stop it. She like uncrossed it.
Yeah.
So, but then at the very end, Egon's ghost. Very Dragon Ball Z-esque, Harry Potter-esque, very tropey. Yeah.
I got the whole Tupac hologram feel from that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so Harold Ramis, they deepfaked Harold Ramis as a ghost, which is probably the best way to deepfake somebody, because you kind of hide a lot of the uncanny valley situation when they're a ghost, because you're able to make them transparent and blurry and stuff like that. And so I was like, but man, that got me, man. I'm watching that, and he grabs and helps Phoebe, his granddaughter, to aim, and then they all kind of come together, and he's like helping, and they all kind of like look over and look at him, and
they're all freaking out too.
Yeah,
they didn't know to expect that, and I was kind of glad they got that reaction out of that, because it just made it seem that much more organic, a ghost coming on, because like the whole thing is they're Ghostbusters, right? They're meant to lock up these ghosts, and then here goes a ghost that starts to help them put away the baddies. And so I wonder, with that being said, with the possible new sequels to come forward, I wonder if he's going to make more appearances. Maybe he's going to play a bigger role and be the one ghost that's like their mascot or something. I don't know, man. I can see a few. I
don't want him in it anymore. I think that was the perfect ending for him. He turned to dust and became the stars. They even put Harold up there. I was like, oh, that was
you know what? You're perfect. Right.
That was perfect. Yeah. I read, but that did bring it a different mechanic, because before, like you said, every ghost was always a bad guy. It was always a bad ghost, that they had to go and trap and lock up. So him being a good ghost that was helping them and stuff like that. So it's gonna be. I hope they explore that kind of more. Sorry, the cat tail off my face. I do hope they explore that more. Like, there are maybe some ghosts that are cool to help them. Like, oh, we're gonna help you guys out. If that's where they do go with it. But yeah. But yeah, man. I don't know, that one. It got me teary eyed. I'm watching, and just I'm glad they didn't make him talk, because I thought that would have been a little too much. Just had him nod and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm cool with that. I
kind of wanted one line from him. I don't know what line it would have been, but I would have liked, because they even did it with Dr. Samuel Lewis in the Halloween. You can have dead people talk, but they got to say the right thing. I don't know what I would have had him say. But yeah, you're right. I think they did a good job of keeping him silent, just for peaceful purposes, and just not to mess with the dead like that. I don't know, because the actual guy, he did die. So there you go.
Yeah, Harold Ramis. Yeah, he's a legend, man. He was.
I don't know. He's from Chicago.
Big. Chicago? I think so. Well, I know he did Second City in Chicago.
He's from Chicago. Murray, I looked it up.
Aykroyd. Is he from Chicago? Okay. Yeah. I know a lot of those guys did the Second City, which is in Chicago.
True.
So they were all kind of like, plus SNL and all the other like legendary movies that Harold Ramis, was a part of and stuff like that. So, but yeah, he was. I thought it was just a perfect ending because before he died, him and Dan Aykroyd were writing a third one. And I was telling you after or before we went live, they were writing a third one where they were going to pass the torch to the new guys, and it was going to be all the new funny guys. Paul Rudd was, Jason Segel, Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill. They were like the guys that were like supposed to have the role. So very, I Love You Man. What's the other one? Knocked Up. Those movies. That time, that's when they were supposed to do it, and then it was right when Harold Ramis might have dying, which kind of sucks. So.
Also, I know, I'm looking at his profile right now, or his kind of bio, and man, happy belated birthday. His birthday was yesterday. He would have turned 69. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
He did do Second City. Right. He did move to New York. Cool. But man, one of Chicago's very own.
Yeah, man, he's a legend, like for sure. Like there's people that would love to work with him. Right. But yeah, they did. They sang "Happy Birthday" to him. I think they were doing a red carpet event, and they sang "Happy Birthday" the other three Ghostbusters. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I thought it was just a very perfect ending to Harold's story with the Ghostbusters. So, but anything else before we get into reviews or the ratings?
I'm ready for the ratings.
Cool, man. Cool. You want to let them know?
All right. Yeah. So here at the Nerd Huddle, us two spoiler kings like to review movies one of three ways that you see on screen. So we either, oh my God, I'm losing color. We either rate this movie. I don't know what's wrong with my screen. We either rate this movie a watch now, a watch later, or a watch never. I look like I'm a freaking zombie. So this is so bad. So a watch now means that it's something that you have to prioritize, drop everything that you're doing, and go watch this movie. A watch later means you can put this on the back burner and catch this on the fly, not priority. And then a watch never means don't give any of your time or money towards this movie because it's that bad. What did you think of the movie while I fixed my face?
So real quick, so we got Chicago Made Pumpkin here. Happy Monday. And they're saying watch later. So for me, it's definitely a watch now. I mean, it got me in the nostalgia. Like it went in and it went in hard and it went in super hardcore with that. And I felt it right away, and I think that's for me was a selling point. So definitely if you're like somebody like my age range who watched the stupid cartoon, had all the toys. I never had a Proton Pack. I wanted one so bad growing up. That was like, I remember I had a friend who had the Proton Pack. I'm like, this is the coolest toy ever. Oh, my headphones died. So yeah, it was just for me, it was just in the nostalgia and I wanted more of it. So I loved it. Any of the kids watching, I don't know if it would be as good for them, like newer people who never got into it yet. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that, but yeah, I don't know. I would give it a watch now if you're old, a watch later if you're younger. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to appreciate it as much, but it was a fun movie. So, yeah, I think that's if you're above 30 now, if you're under 30 later.
That's fair. For me, I'm kind of giving it the benefit of the doubt. I want to say, I don't know if I said that phrase right, but I want to say this movie gets a watch now from me because it didn't fail. It didn't it had to hit a few marks to be even considered successful. It had to have ghosts. It had to make them look appealing and not goofy looking. They did a good job of that. They had the spooky factor a little bit. Not that you needed a spooky factor because Ghostbusters is known for more of the comedic um thing that it does. So it was cool that they brought you some like supernatural TV show type vibes, some newer vibes with the older nostalgia. They just had a perfect balance in my opinion for getting the new people and older folks kind of join in on a really good story. They didn't make the story so confusing. They brought in even the OGs at the very end, and so for that, thank you. I love that. So I want to say it's a watch now. And then, I'm going to ask you right now anyways, but would I watch this one again? I actually would. It's really refreshing. It gets you in your heartstrings for a little bit more closer to the end. And you see that, grandpa, was a big boy. It was a big role, and you want to see, his legacy live on. So with that being said, I can't wait for a possible sequel, which I definitely see happening. Would you watch this one again, Tank?
Oh yeah, I was telling my girlfriend this, like on it was a Sunday. I'm like, I really want to go see it again. Can we go see it again? But I didn't have time to go see it again. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun, and I really wanted to see it again. So maybe I'll even go to another theater to go see it again. But yeah, I loved it. For me personally, I loved it for that. But yeah, so they might do a sequel. So one of the post-credit scenes is Winston. He gets the car back. He's like, "Oh, what they do to you, baby?" kind of thing, and he gets her back, and he's talking to Janine, and he opens a door, and light goes through, and it's the old firehouse, where you were told it turned into a Starbucks. It was like kind of a throwaway funny joke. So it's not. So Winston opens the door, walks through. You see the pole. Everything's all dingy and dirty and dusty. And then the big doors open, and then the car pulls through, and then he kind of like puts his hand on it, and then it's cut. So I was like, oh, like, is he gonna because he has money now? Is he gonna reinvest into the Ghostbusters? The only problem is there's always, like, after the Ghostbusters save the world and defeat the ghost, there's no ghosts. for years, and the first one was from 84 to 89, there was no ghost, and then from 89 to 2000, well, I guess there were. This Egon was doing his best to keep them at bay, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I hope they do something cool with it, and Jason Reitman was the son of the original director, Ivan Reitman.
Nice.
Reitman. So that was super cool. I mean, this is a guy who, like me, was on set. He was there, on set with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and his dad during the movie. So it was like, as a kid, you're seeing your dad do the work and make a cult classic.
Wow.
So as he grew up, he was just like, he wrote the story. The original guys loved it. So it makes sense that hopefully he can kind of continue the franchise on into a newer generation. So yeah,
I got a feeling, man. I got a feeling that there really is going to be a sequel, just based off of one scene alone. I don't know if you remember, and I wish I would have pulled out my phone to take a picture of it, but there was like a timeline that they kept showing. I forgot where it was, and they showed in the pit, where every year where there was going to be an incident of ghosts going crazy. So one year that they showed was 1984. They showed 2 years after that, and then they showed 2021, which is this year for this movie. And then there was, like, the camera couldn't just turn a few degrees, but there were more. I want to say there was more numbers.
There were more numbers
after 2021. So
I couldn't make out what they were, though.
Me neither.
Yeah,
but that makes me think that there should be a sequel.
Yeah,
just based off that.
But those numbers were just for Gozer, the Destroyer. So I don't know if they're gonna, like, I don't know. I mean, they could do something like Vigo, I think, was the bad guy in the second one, where he was the painting. You can go something like that. You can go crazy older historical characters that have like crazy myths and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool.
True.
But so on Rotten Tomatoes, we got the tomato meter at 62%, which is not bad. It's technically good. But the audience is at 96%. So I think most of the audiences were about my age or older and went to go see it and drag their kids along, kind of thing. So
snap. Okay.
So it's not too bad. And then last thing was this was only in the box office, only in theaters. So it had a good Friday or Thursday. Let's see, it went so $60 million worldwide, which is not too bad.
That's all right.
So Sony needed to do something because Sony had Venom and that was garbage. So so it did 44 million in North America, and which is good, and then 60 million worldwide. So it did fairly good. I think it says technically it did better than expected. So that's always a good sign.
Yeah.
So, but cool. Yeah, Carrie Coon was the mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it got it says was this the Hollywood Reporter says the film earned an A- cinema score from audiences. So the audiences obviously loved it. Cool. And then I know Chicago Made Punk. So what's the next movie we gotta watch? Don't know. I gotta see what comes out.
I saw a commercial too, and I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be that. I forgot what it was though. But if you have a movie you want us to watch, feel free to comment. If you have any requests, we're slowly but surely making time for video requests. So first on our list is going to be a short film that I forgot the name of, but we're definitely going to get to that one first. You remember the movie?
Rise of Jesus, I think it was called. That one of the viewers asked us to watch it. So
yeah,
it was a short film, so that's super easy. But yeah, any other films you guys want us to watch and talk about? We're always down for that. But the box office, our Monday show, I don't know what we're doing next week, so we'll figure it out. And anybody watching live right now, we are not doing a giveaway this week. But the giveaway for next week is going to be up tomorrow. And next week we are giving away Candyman. So be sure to be on the lookout for that video, and then comment the special, catch the special phrase, and you can win a digital copy of Candyman, which we also reviewed on this channel. So go check out Candyman. Bam, 3 times every time.
Yo,
just to piss off people.
I got my counter right here.
Yeah. They woo Candyman. Yeah.
Chicagoans know, man.
Yeah, Chicago people know that. Don't say it. But cool, man. Anything else before we close out?
Yeah, just stay in school. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I've got nothing.
Yeah. And then just real quick, here's the rest of the Nerd Huddle shows. So make sure you go check out the main channel, the Nerd Huddle, youtube.com/Nerd Huddle. A lot of sports stuff. Tomorrow, Panda and Grizzly, which I'm definitely going to watch. So if you're into football, especially if you're into Chicago Bears football, we are going to have a therapy session tomorrow.
Again.
Again. So, and then also make sure you go follow Dynasty Pylon. They're big fancy gurus. You know, Dynasty, IDP, redraft, standard PPR leagues. They help out with everything. And then Thursdays on the main channel at the Nerd Huddle. Did We Just Become Best Friends? Hawkeye comes out this week on Disney Plus, and me and Brian plan on talking about it. It might not be live because Thursday is Thanksgiving. So, but we'll hopefully have a video up on Thursday because we're excited. Me and Brian are big nerds. Obviously, I think all you guys know. So we're gonna start breaking down Hawkeye. Hawkeye's coming out. Boba Fett's coming out pretty soon. There's all these good Disney Plus shows. So all the nerds are, we're gonna be happy going into the holiday season. So yeah, make sure you give all the Nerd Huddle some love. But our Thursday show is always fun. As always, me and Brian talking I mean, we go hardcore nerdy with it, but it's fun, man. It's fun. Cool, man. But that is it from us this week. Make sure you look out for the giveaway video that should be coming out on Tuesday. So you can win Candyman. But that is it from us today. Thank you guys for coming out, hanging out. Chicago Made Punk, Erica, the sorry dudes, I forgot. The Gadunk. I think I'm saying it right?
The Gadunk. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. Go follow. Make sure you go follow them. I always watch their reviews. They're another movie review channel. I watch them. It's two guys, and they always hang out, and they have good, very good ideas and thoughts and conversations about a bunch of different movies. So make sure you go follow those guys. They're really awesome.
Oh yeah.
Cool. But that's it, man. See you guys later.
Peace.